Welcome to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA, and I am joined this morning by Glenn Lytle. He is the SVP of Commercial Sales for Glo Fiber Business. Glenn, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
We're excited to talk this morning. So, Glo Fiber actually started in the Shenandoah Valley. So I have to give a quick shout out to my hometown of Harrisonburg, Virginia. So I'm really excited to hear more about the expansion, though, because you have gone from Virginia to many other communities.
Right.
So would love to hear about that this morning.
Absolutely. Yeah. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about that growth and some of those recent expansions and where you're going?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start with kind of where we're at, because I think what's important is we were recently a part of an acquisition from Horizon, another large fiber provider, primarily in Ohio, and so it's uniquely positioned us with the network where we're kind of in between two of the largest data centers in the U.S. So in Chicago, Cermak, and Ashburn. And so now with presence in Columbus, which is kind of, you got the old data centers in Cermak and Ashburn, and now the growth in Columbus in terms of the hyperscaler growth and that kind of thing is really become a prominent area for that. So now we're in a position for network expansion from Chicago all the way through to Ashburn, and then all points in between. So continuing to expand out, what we call the water stain, the fiber water stain, in terms of the Glo Fiber brand, branching up into Pennsylvania. And so in addition to the acquisition into Ohio, organic growth up into Pennsylvania, so State College, York, Lancaster areas. And so again, continuing to build out the fiber as data needs, demand.
Yeah, what an incredible expansion that you're in the middle of right now, a great footprint that you're building. So thank you for sharing that. I want to talk next about a key issue among ISPs, and that's deploying more fiber across their service areas. This is something Glo Fiber has done really well, and I'm curious how you're working with local service providers to leverage your existing fiber network.
Sure. Well, I think we actually have a couple of different divisions. One is the direct sales team, so out there selling directly to end users. And then the second would be, as you mentioned, working with other local service providers. So we do have a wholesale group. And so, any areas that we can help other smaller ISPs or even larger ISPs that look to interconnect island networks that they have. So, we are able to leverage a lot of the long haul and interconnecting cities, and we work with wireless internet service providers to fill in some of the gaps. A lot of the initiatives now to push broadband out into some of the rural footprint, given our legacy footprints,
Right.
Are a little bit more legacy or rural in nature. Working with those local ISPs is very important because they can push it out even further than where our network is existing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touch on something I wanted to talk about next, which is the digital divide.
Mm-hmm.
And you all are doing great work there because, as you've mentioned, many of your customers are impacted by that. So tell me how you're working to close that. What steps are you taking?
Sure. Well, there's a lot that goes into that for sure. I think it's really just leveraging all the resources. It's leveraging the existing fiber assets that we have, working with state and federal government with the different grants and their initiatives. They're looking to push, fiber deployment and broadband into a lot of the rural areas. And so we're fortunate in that, we are focused more on secondary and tertiary markets. So we're naturally already kind of deploying fiber in those areas. But then working with local school districts is a great starting point to kind of, get into a market and then help deploy from there. So an anchor tenant, if you will, is a lot of cases how we're able to penetrate into a market, and certainly partnering with a lot of the funding resources that are available to make sure that, because we've got a presence in a lot of these rural areas, it's easier for us to kind of work in between and around those footprints. So, we're thrilled to be a part of a lot of that.
Yeah, and it's such important work
Absolutely.
that you're doing. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Now, a topic we can't stay away from at this conference is AI. So I want to hear a little bit about how are you helping your small and medium-sized enterprise customers who are considering how AI might fit into their overall strategy. What do you tell them, or what are the strategy that you help them with?
Sure. Well, I think, AI is a funny thing. I think a lot of people are still trying to figure out what it even means. I think that in terms of my guidance for folks that are considering it, it's you got to get in the game and you got to figure it out soon. I heard someone quote earlier that it's kind of like If you're not using AI in your business, it's kind of like saying we're not going to use Excel to do spreadsheets. You're just going to use a calculator. So I think that it's a pretty profound analogy, but that's really kind of what we're seeing is folks that are adopting early are really driving efficiencies into the business. And so that's kind of where we come in on the back end is how can we provide the tools and resources from a technology perspective, whether it's interconnecting to data centers. Again, that hyperscaler growth that I mentioned in Columbus and in some of the other areas is certainly indicative of what we're seeing in AI. It's what's really driving a lot of that bandwidth need into the data centers. And so, that just shows you how it's going to continue to push out into the edge and drive bandwidth needs from small and medium customers. But I think understanding really what it means and how it can drive efficiencies into their business is critical. It could be how do you do a better job of managing your customer service, or using AI on if you've got delivery services on mapping out the routes. And again, it all kind of comes back to how can we help them with the tools in bandwidth and internet connectivity to drive those efficiencies.
Right. It's critical for so many verticals, so many small and medium-sized
100%.
businesses, and how they can be more efficient.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch it unfold. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now, tell me what's on the horizon, or what's coming in 2025 for Glo Fiber
Sure.
business.
Yeah, so 2024, just wrapped up the acquisition of Horizon, and so really, completing that integration, which was a lot of work, got through that very quickly, and now it's really just growth for us in 2025. What really got us here has been primarily kind of that enterprise, the larger business, the government, education, healthcare, carrier, and tower. So continue to do that, but I think where you're going to see us really pivot and become very aggressive in 25 is more of that small and medium business. So with the deployment of a lot of our Glo Fiber out into some new markets, the broadband capabilities and some bundle packages on the small business side is really where we're focused. It's important to kind of get sales a little closer to the edge in the small business, and so we've really made some investments in local leadership, local sales engineering, and in kind of upgrading our product bag to make sure that we can really play in that space. So we're excited to really continue to do what we've done well over the last couple of years and really start to penetrate into that small and medium business segment.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, and best of luck in 2025. We really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Great. And to our viewers, stay connected and happy networking.